There's a fruit that costs 49 cents per serving. You can find it in any grocery store in America. And a real clinical trial, not a blog post, not someone's opinion, an actual published study, showed that it improved insulin sensitivity in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's less time than it takes most people to even get a follow-up appointment with their doctor. The fruit is the blueberry. And before you roll your eyes and think you already know everything about blueberries, I promise you don't. Because the way most people are eating them right now is canceling out nearly 70% of the benefit. And they have absolutely no idea it's happening. Here's the part that should genuinely bother you. There are probably 7 fruits sitting in your kitchen at this very moment. 3 of them are actively helping your blood sugar. 4 of them are quietly destroying it. And nobody is telling you which is which. Not your doctor, not the label on the bag, not the nutrition commercial you watched this morning. Today, I'm going to rank all 7 of them, from worst to best, and I'm going to explain exactly why. The worst one is a fruit most people eat all summer long, thinking it's completely harmless. The best one is why a woman named Doris watched her A1C drop from 8.4 to 6.1 in just 90 days. And her endocrinologist was so stunned he pulled out his phone and started searching the research right there in the office. My name is Dr. Leonard Javier, and what I'm about to show you isn't a theory or a trend. It's the real biology of what happens inside your body when you eat fruit. And once you understand it, you will never look at a fruit bowl the same way again. The confusion around fruit and blood sugar runs deep. And it runs deep for a reason. Fruit isn't one thing. It's not like salt where the rule is simple. It's more like a medicine cabinet. Some bottles in that cabinet heal you, some make you sicker, and a few of them look completely identical on the outside but contain something totally different on the inside. The only way to know which is to understand what's happening inside your body after you take that first bite. Here's what actually happens. The primary sugar in fruit is fructose. Now, fructose doesn't behave like glucose. It doesn't go straight into your bloodstream. Instead, it takes a detour directly to your liver, and your liver has to process all of it. In small amounts, with fiber still intact, your liver handles that job just fine. Blood sugar stays steady, no spike, no crash, no problem. But the moment you eat fruit without enough fiber, whether you juiced it, blended it, or simply chose a fruit that's naturally low in fiber and high in sugar, that fructose floods the liver all at once. The liver panics. It converts that excess fructose directly into fat. And worse, it triggers something called hepatic insulin resistance, which means your liver starts ignoring insulin altogether. And once your liver stops responding to insulin, your fasting blood sugar climbs, even overnight, even after 12 hours, without eating a single thing. That's why 2 fruits with similar sugar content can have completely opposite effects on your body. It's not just about how much sugar is in the fruit. It's about the fiber matrix surrounding that sugar, the polyphenols protecting your cells, and the speed at which everything gets absorbed. A fruit with strong fiber and high polyphenols acts like a slow drip. A fruit without those protections hits your liver like a wave of soda. Once you understand that mechanism, everything else I'm about to tell you will make perfect sense. So let's start at the bottom of the list and work our way up. Because number 7 is one of the most misunderstood fruits in America. Number 7 is watermelon, and I already know how that sounds. Watermelon is refreshing. It's mostly water. It's summer. How dangerous could it possibly be? Here's the reality. The glycemic index of watermelon is 72. That puts it in the high category, higher than white bread, higher than a baked potato. Now, technically, the glycemic load per single cup is low because there isn't much carbohydrate per bite. It's mostly water, and that part is true. But here's the trap. Nobody eats 1 cup of watermelon. People sit outside in the summer heat and eat 2, 3, sometimes 4 cups at a time on a completely empty stomach, and that is where the damage happens. With almost no fiber to slow it down, watermelon on an empty stomach is essentially sugar water wrapped in a green shell, and it hits your bloodstream fast. The fix for watermelon isn't elimination. It's strategy. If you love watermelon and genuinely don't want to give it up, eat it after protein, never before, never alone, and never as a midday snack on an empty stomach. That single change, eating watermelon after a protein-rich meal instead of by itself, can cut the blood sugar impact by nearly half. A small personal watermelon at Costco or Trader Joe's costs under $4. Slice it ahead of time, portion it into 1-cup servings, and save it for after dinner. That's the rule. 1 cup, after protein, never alone. That's the difference between watermelon helping you and watermelon quietly spiking your glucose every single summer. Number 6 is the fruit that tricks people the hardest because it comes with a health claim built right into the marketing. That fruit is pineapple. Pineapple has a reputation. People hear about bromelain, the enzyme found in pineapple that helps with inflammation and digestion. And they make a very reasonable but completely wrong assumption. They think, if this fruit has a powerful enzyme that helps my body, then the whole fruit must be good for my blood sugar. That logic feels right, but it falls apart the moment you look at the actual numbers. The glycemic index of pineapple ranges from 59 to 66, depending on ripeness, which puts it solidly in the moderate to high category. And 1 single cup of pineapple chunks contains over 16 grams of sugar with only 2.3 grams of fiber. That ratio, high sugar against low fiber, is almost exactly the combination that overwhelms the liver. A study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition measured blood sugar responses to tropical fruits and found that pineapple produced significantly higher glucose spikes than other fruits eaten in the same portion size. The bromelain does not protect you from that sugar surge. Bromelain digests protein. It works in your joints and your digestive tract. It does absolutely nothing to slow down glucose absorption. 2 completely different systems. And people confuse them because the word enzyme sounds universally healthy. It isn't. If you enjoy pineapple, eat a few small pieces after a protein-rich meal, never blended, never juiced. And understand that there are far better fruit choices coming up on this list that taste just as good, without the blood sugar cost. Number 5 is a fruit I see in kitchens all the time, and it catches people off guard every single time I bring it up. That fruit is mango. Mango is one of the most popular fruits in the world, and the sugar content is genuinely staggering once you see it laid out plainly. 1 whole mango, the kind you pick up at a regular grocery store for about $1.50, contains 46 grams of sugar. 46. That is more sugar than an entire can of Coca-Cola. And before you say it, yes, mango has vitamin C and beta-carotene, and real nutritional value. I'm not calling it poison, but if you are actively managing blood sugar, eating a whole mango is one of the most counterproductive things you can do. And the reason goes beyond just the sugar number. The glycemic load of a whole mango is high because of the sheer volume of carbohydrates packed into one sitting. You eat a whole mango and you've just consumed over 50 grams of carbs in one meal. For context, that's the same carbohydrate load as 2 slices of white bread. And this is the part that genuinely gets me. I've had patients tell me they cut out bread entirely. They were proud of it, and rightfully so. But they were eating a full mango every single morning for breakfast and wondering why their fasting blood sugar kept climbing despite all their effort. The swap felt healthy. The biology told a different story. If you love mango and can't imagine giving it up, eat half a mango. Slice it in advance. Store the other half. And always eat it after protein, not before. Half a portion in the right order is manageable. A whole one first thing in the morning is a problem. Now we move into the territory where things start to get genuinely interesting. Because number 4 is a fruit that almost every nutritionist recommends. And they're right about it, but only under very specific conditions that most people never hear about. Number 4 is grapes. Here's the real issue with grapes. One grape is harmless. It's tiny. It's sweet. It's practically nothing. But nobody eats one grape. You sit down in front of the television. You've got a bowl nearby. And 40 minutes later you look down, and you've eaten 40 or 50 of them without even thinking about it. 50 grapes contains around 36 grams of sugar. That's the equivalent of 9 teaspoons of table sugar, coming entirely from fruit, in one mindless sitting. Grapes have a glycemic index of around 59, which is moderate. But the glycemic index alone isn't the danger here. The danger is the portion trap. Grapes are small and sweet and require zero effort to eat. There's no peel, no pit, no prep work slowing you down. You eat them faster than your brain can register fullness, and before the satiety signal arrives, the damage is already done. There is something genuinely valuable in grapes. The skin contains resveratrol, which is a real well-studied compound that supports cardiovascular health. But the flesh and the juice inside the skin is dense with fructose. The medicine is in the skin. The sugar is in everything else. 10 grapes after a meal is a reasonable portion for anyone managing blood sugar. 10. Not a bowl, not a handful, but 10 counted out, eaten after protein and vegetables. That sounds restrictive until you actually try it, because 10 grapes after a satisfying meal is genuinely enough flavor. It's the mindless snacking that causes the damage, not the fruit itself. Number 3 carries a secret that most people have never heard, and that secret changes everything depending on one single variable. Number 3 is the banana. No fruit generates more questions in my practice than the banana. Can I eat bananas? Are bananas destroying my blood sugar? My doctor told me to stop, and the honest answer, the one that actually helps people, is this. It depends entirely on one thing, and that one thing is ripeness. Here's the biology that almost nobody teaches. The starch inside a banana doesn't stay the same as the banana ages. It transforms. A green banana, firm, slightly bitter, slightly difficult to peel, is packed with resistant starch. Resistant starch is a specific type of carbohydrate that your small intestine cannot digest. It passes all the way through to your colon, where it feeds beneficial gut bacteria. And it does not raise your blood sugar. It behaves almost like fiber.
But as that same banana sits on your counter and ripens, turning yellow, then spotted, then soft and sweet, that resistant starch converts molecule by molecule into simple sugars. Same banana, same size, same weight, completely different effect on your blood sugar. A study, published in Diabetic Medicine, found that unripe banana flour significantly reduced fasting blood sugar and improved insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetic patients over 12 weeks.
The glycemic index of a green banana is between 30 and 40. The glycemic index of a fully ripe banana is 62. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between a food that helps you and a food that hurts you. So, if bananas are part of your life, buy them slightly green. Eat them before they fully yellow. And here's a trick most dietitians won't mention. Slice a green banana and refrigerate it for 2 hours. Cooling it after cooking actually increases the resistant starch content even further. Same principle that works with rice and potatoes. Now we reach the top 2, and this is where the science gets genuinely powerful. Number 2 is a fruit so common, so ordinary, so completely taken for granted that its benefits get overlooked constantly. Number 2 is the apple. There's an old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and for once the science actually supports it. But only if you eat the apple correctly, and most people aren't. The key compound isn't the vitamin C or the antioxidants, though those matter. It's a specific soluble fiber called pectin. Pectin is found in the skin and flesh of apples, but it's most concentrated in the skin. When pectin reaches your stomach, it forms a gel-like substance that coats the inside of your digestive tract. Think of it like pouring thick honey through a colander instead of water. Everything slows down. Glucose absorption slows down. The sugar from the apple and from everything else you ate enters your bloodstream gradually, in a measured, controlled way, instead of all at once. A study published in the journal Diabetic found that pectin reduced post-meal insulin demand by 35%. 35% less insulin needed from a fiber that nature already built into the apple before you even bought it. But here's where most people unknowingly throw that benefit away. They peel the apple. They eat applesauce. They drink apple juice. The moment you remove the skin or process the apple in any way, the pectin is gone or broken. Apple juice has zero pectin benefit. Applesauce has minimal. A whole apple with the skin intact, washed and eaten with a fork, that is where the medicine lives. A Fuji or Gala apple at a budget grocery store costs between 70 and 90 cents. Slice it, eat it with the skin on, after protein, and if you want the maximum protection, eat it before your carbohydrates and after your protein. A study from Japan published in Foods in 2022 confirmed that eating an apple before a rice meal measurably delayed the glucose peak and reduced the overall spike. The ideal sequence is protein first, then apple, then your carbohydrates. That order matters more than most people realize. Which brings us to number 1, and to Doris. Doris was 71 years old. Her A1C was 8.4. Her endocrinologist had been recommending insulin for 2 years, and she had been saying no, because she believed, deeply and stubbornly, that she could make a difference with food first. Her doctor was skeptical, but agreed to give her 90 days. And here's what Doris did. She did not go on an extreme diet. She did not cut out every carbohydrate. She did not fast for 18 hours a day. She did 3 things. She added 1 cup of blueberries every single morning. She ate them after protein. And she stopped drinking fruit juice completely. That was it. 90 days later, her A1C was 6.1. Her endocrinologist sat across from her, and instead of congratulating her, he pulled out his phone and started looking up the research. Here's what he found. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2010, led by Dr. April Stahl at Pennington Biomedical Research Center, gave obese, insulin-resistant adults the equivalent of 2 servings per day of freeze-dried blueberry powder. The control group received a placebo. After 6 weeks, the blueberry group showed significantly improved insulin sensitivity compared to the control group. Their cells had started responding to insulin again. Not from a drug, not from a procedure, from a fruit that costs 49 cents a serving. The active compounds responsible for this effect are called anthocyanins, the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue color. When anthocyanins enter your bloodstream, they activate an enzyme called AMP, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, which functions like a master switch inside your cells. When AMP turns on, your cells open their doors to glucose.
Blood sugar moves out of your bloodstream and into your cells where it belongs, where it gets used for energy. Insulin starts working better, and that effect lasts for hours after a single serving. A meta-analysis of 22 randomized controlled trials published in Nutrition, Metabolism, and Cardiovascular Diseases in 2022 found that regular blueberry intake reduced fasting blood glucose by nearly 18 milligrams per deciliter and reduced A1C by 0.32% in people with type 2 diabetes.
That is not a marketing claim. That is the aggregated result of 22 separate clinical trials. And for someone sitting at a 7.4 trying to push below 7.0, that 0.32 reduction could be exactly the gap they've been trying to close. A separate 2021 trial from the University of East Anglia tested 1 cup of fresh blueberries daily in adults with metabolic syndrome, average age 63. Not young, healthy students. Real people, older people. People with metabolic dysfunction already established. That group showed lower fasting glucose, lower insulin levels, and improved cholesterol at the end of the trial. The blueberry didn't need a perfect body to work in. It worked in bodies just like yours. And here's the part that makes this completely accessible. A 2-pound bag of frozen blueberries at Walmart costs between $5 and $7. 1 serving, half a cup, costs about 49 cents. Frozen works just as well as fresh, and in some cases better, because berries are flash frozen at peak ripeness, which actually preserves the anthocyanin content better than letting fresh berries sit in a warm kitchen for 4 days. The glycemic index of blueberries is 53. Lower than apples, lower than bananas, lower than grapes, and combined with 3.6 grams of fiber per cup and the AMP activation from the anthocyanins, your blood sugar doesn't just avoid spiking after blueberries. It may genuinely improve over the hours that follow. That's exactly what happened to Doris. Half a cup of frozen blueberries every morning, mixed into Greek yogurt after her eggs. Simple, affordable, and repeatable every single day for the rest of her life. Now, before you go to the grocery store, there are 4 mistakes I need you to understand. Because any one of them can completely cancel the benefits of everything I just explained. The first mistake is fruit juice. Any fruit juice. Every fruit juice. The moment you juice a fruit, you strip out the fiber and concentrate the sugar into a fast-moving liquid. A glass of orange juice contains 21 grams of sugar. Apple juice contains 24. That sugar reaches your liver in minutes with nothing to slow it down. No fiber, no pectin, no protective gel. Drinking fruit juice is metabolically almost identical to drinking a soda. The label saying no sugar added doesn't protect you. The sugar was already inside the fruit. Juicing just removed the only thing that was making that sugar safe. The second mistake is the blender. Smoothies look healthy,